Hey, you know what I always wanted to be? A cryptozoologist. You know what a cryptozoologist is? Okay, let's say that there's a dinosaur that comes up on the beach somewhere in South America, like a brontosaurus or something, and there's 260 people on the beach, and dinosaurs aren't supposed to be there anymore. So somebody's got to go down there and figure out what's going on, do some investigative journalism. That's where a cryptozoologist comes in. They crisscross the globe trying to find evidence that prehistoric creatures and crypto creatures like Loch Ness Monster and Bigfoot and elves and leprechauns and Mothman, paranormal phenomena. They got to crisscross the world and try and figure out what happened, what's real, is there evidence. Sounds like a good job to me, because things happen all the time that aren't supposed to happen. Now, I would really like the investigative journalism part of it. I could see myself somewhere in South America doing great interviews, you know. There's probably a chicken farmer down there who's just livid. He's just furious because a pterodactyl is swooping down and stealing his chickens. And it's been going on for years. I can just imagine saying, "Sir, what exactly did you see?" And having him say, "Look, the pterodactyl is stealing my chickens. The government knows about it. Where's the Air Force when you need it? I'm going to buy me a bazooka. I'm going to shoot down the pterodactyl. That's my chicken he's stealing. I want to know who's going to pay for that chicken. That's what I'd like to know." You know, I could hear stuff like that on a weekly basis. And of course, I would have to handle it professionally and say things to people like, "Well, sir, you were on the beach that day when the brontosaurus appeared, and I just want to set the record straight here. Was this the exact spot that you saw the dinosaur? You say that there was 260 people on the beach. Is there anyone else that I could talk to? Does this happen on a regular basis?" You know, important stuff like that. I mean, you know, it's funny, but it's not funny. I mean, how would you feel if you were in Texas and you're on your lunch break and you're sitting at a picnic table behind a big building, and just as about that moment where you're going to eat some fried chicken and macaroni, you look up and Mothman is descending on you. A humanoid figure with a moth body, and he lands right across from you at the table. Or if you look up and Tyrannosaurus Rex is right there staring at you, only a few feet away from your head, and you are severely traumatized. You'd want to talk to a cryptozoologist, wouldn't you? In fact, you know what? There's so many people in the world that see crypto creatures and things that are totally impossible, but there are cryptozoologists and therapists that team up to help people deal with their trauma, because it would be pretty traumatic, you know. You're walking through the forest, you see Bigfoot face to face, and your whole world starts crumbling. Your psyche falls apart. Everything you thought you knew about life is now challenged. And you know you can't just tell anybody about this. I mean, you couldn't tell people at work. They'd finally have something on you. You'd never get promoted. You'd never tell your boss that. Maybe you would never even tell like your wife or your husband or your kids. You'd need to see a specialist about crypto creature trauma. That's how common it is. But you know, there's a lot to this field of work. For example, you'd have to investigate and ponder questions that are tough. Like, for example, if people are still seeing dinosaurs in South America and Africa, you'd have to ask how. How does this happen? And no theory is too ridiculous, because there is no explanation. So you might have to come up with a theory like, well, there were some dinosaurs that were swimming around in the ocean. They're just playing hide and go seek. One dinosaur decided to dive very deeply into the water. And momentarily, the normal laws of science, of time and space and matter were suspended. And the dinosaur came up on the beach in the present moment, and they were totally confused and lost and terrified. In fact, they were traumatized by the whole thing also. And then only moments later, they descended back into the water and traveled back through time and space and rematerialized where they were, never to be seen again. But for 10 minutes, they were on a beach somewhere. It's not a very good theory, I know. It's like a 5-year-old would come up with that theory. But there is no explanation for some things, yet they still happen. And people can say things like, well, someday science will explain everything. Which is a great way of putting something off for hundreds of years. Anyways, that's what I want to do. But, I mean, people would think that's crazy. Every day I get messages on Facebook saying, hi, I saw your profile, and I was just wondering, but I'm not looking for anybody. I just want to make friends, but anyway, so what do you do and how much money do you make? Well, if I was a cryptozoologist, I don't know if I'd make any money, Maybe I would make money by getting that elusive footage, that perfectly crisp and clear footage of a dinosaur, a pterodactyl, Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster. And then I could sell it to CNN, a worldwide exclusive, first time in history, smartphone footage, crisp and clear, not murky, not foggy, but good footage. Probably I could make $1 million. Maybe the BBC would give me $2 million for footage like that. You might wonder, how is it that everybody's got a phone on them these days, but they don't get good footage of cryptos, of dinosaurs and monsters and that sort of thing? Well, I guess the best theory about that is that when you see a cryptoid, you get freaked out. It scares you to death, man. So the last thing you think about is, I got to take my phone out and push record. But if I was a cryptozoologist, I suspect if I did that for 30 years and nobody had any footage to show me, I'd be pretty upset. I'd be pretty disappointed. I'd feel like saying, so, sir, this was the spot that the brontosaurus came out of the water and stood on for 10 minutes on the beach. Apparently, he put his head underneath a picnic table for a while. 260 people witnessed it, and nobody took their phone out, took a picture. Nobody thought, hey, I'm already on Facebook. Why don't I just push the record button? Imagine how frustrating that would be. I mean, you can't live off of other people's experiences. You'd want to see a cryptoid. You'd want to see a monster. You'd want to see Mothman. You'd want to see something. But what if it never happened? Make a good movie. I think maybe Bill Murray could be Cryptoid, the Cryptid Hunter. But he never sees anything. Never gets the footage. His life is a disaster. At some moment, when he could have got the footage, he saw something and forgot to get the footage. Be funny. Well, I don't know. I think it'd be funny. But anyways, that's what I always wanted to be. Was a cryptozoologist, you know? It's not a real science, anyways. It's a pseudoscience. Because without an actual living specimen, you can't say it's scientific anymore. There's got to be at least one living dinosaur that gets found, or it's not science. It's speculation. But the thing is, there have been many reports, you know, pterodactyls are still a very big thing in some continents. If a pterodactyl flies over a sporting event and 300 people see it, you have to take it seriously. Now, if one person saw it, you could say maybe they were delusional or something like that, or maybe they were revolting against the rational mind. You know, as human beings, we're not rational. Hopefully you figured that out by now. At heart, we're spiritual beings, right? So maybe there are people out there that can't deal with the stress of life and all the personal choices we have to make, the personal responsibility that we face, the dilemmas. Our minds are being controlled by nothing but rational thoughts and high tech. There's got to be a few people out there that just, their subconscious mind revolts against the rational world and pulls up an image of a dinosaur and they hallucinate. That could be. Well, if 300 people say they saw the same thing, that's not what it is. So what is it then? Huh? That's the question. No, there's no answer. That's why it's so good, though. I love the fact that there are things we don't know anything about. I love the fact that there is no answer. I don't want life to come down to the point where we say we know everything. Everything is explained. Well, everything that matters, that is.